Hello and welcome back to Desert DIY. If you are new here, my name is Corey. Today I have a stunning transformation for you. I'm going to take this beat up old desk and make it absolutely beautiful again. You will not believe how it looks at the end. Even I was surprised by it. I still keep looking at it thinking, wow, really? Is this the same desk? But I picked it up from a friend who got it from somebody else and they didn't have time to fix it up, so she gave it to me. And the first thing I'm going to do is sand the top down. There is a huge, beautiful surprise underneath this old beat up finish. It has a like braided wood inlay, and the wood inlay is a special type of wood. And I actually had to look it up because I've never seen a wood that was bright red naturally without any kind of stain. It was just naturally bright red. Here you can see what I mean. So when I looked it up on Google, it was called Red Heart, I believe, and I think it comes from South America, although you don't quote me on that. The next thing I'm going to do is take the drawers out and get all of the hardware off. Just like the rest of the desk, the hardware was really dirty and just needed to be cleaned up. So I took all of the hardware off, and it was the kind of hardware that comes apart into three pieces, so I had to be very careful not to lose any of the pieces or the screws. Also, during this time, you can kind of figure out when a piece was made by what type of hardware they use inside the drawers, and I date this piece around the late 1950s to early 1960s because of the flathead screws that it used on the inside. They were very mass-produced looking, so it's not an antique, that's for sure. Now I'm just going to use some wood filler and fill in all of the cracks that happen from this piece drying out over time in our dry desert climate. The wood filler I'm using is a Minwax stainable wood filler. It's important to get a stainable wood filler for wood that you know you're going to be restaining, and for the top of this piece I filled in a couple little small spots. So I wanted to make sure that it was stainable and was going to look like wood grain. And this part is the most tedious part of the whole project. It took me about an hour to hand sand the whole edging of the top of this desk. Once that is done, I go inside and sand off the wood filler that I used on the desk drawers. So the drawers had some spots that were very severely blemished, and I needed to fill them in, and then I cleaned all of the drawers after that. Now I am going to use black, that's right, black paint to paint the whole bottom of the desk. I'm starting with the drawers because I want to get definitely some good coats on the drawers, so for the dry time I like to start on the piece that I know is going to take the most amount of coats, but since this had so many defects from age on there, I wanted to make sure I got some really good coats of paint on these fronts of these drawers. The paint that I used was just a Rust-Oleum paint that you can buy ready and made in the can from any store that sells paint that is Rust-Oleum brand, or you can use any other brand. I don't recommend getting store brands like the Walmart brand or the Ace Hardware brand just because those paints are not as good. Now I'm going to be painting the rest of the body of the desk, and you can see the top of the desk, how good it came out from sanding it. And it was definitely worth that sweat equity that I put into hand sanding that edge. The edge was really delicate because of how dried out it was and because of the type of veneer that was on there. I got the whole bottom of the piece done, and I'm going to put the drawers back in and then hit them up with a second coat of that black. The body of the desk did not end up needing a second coat, which was good. It was in pretty good condition. And so once I got all the drawers in, I just hit that second coat on there. And then my favorite part of the whole project is putting the wax on the top of the desk. So when you do this, you can see that the color of the wood pops. And I knew that was going to happen. I was really excited to find out what kind of color was going to come through. And that red wood, oh my gosh, I can't believe how vibrantly red that is. Who knew that that was hiding under that destroyed finish on the top of this desk? It really blew me away. I believe the rest of the wood is the mahogany wood, maybe a little bit of walnut in there around the edge, but it is gorgeous. I seriously don't even have words for the amount of craftsmanship that went into making that. Now I'm just going to buff the wax finish and get off the excess. I did 2 coats of wax on here because I really wanted it to be nice and durable, but I didn't want to do poly on here because I wanted to keep that really good wood feel. And for all the handles and hardware, I just took a wire brush and cleaned the hardware in soap and water. You can kind of see how nasty dirty the water is, and that's just from soap, so they were pretty disgustingly dirty. Which is to be expected because you see the way it looks in the beginning. That's what makes this a true trash to treasure, because it is something that somebody could think should go to the dump, although somebody like me would be like, no way. Now I'm going to use a brass, and this metal polish is just for all metal, but this in particular is brass, and I just shined up all of the brass really quickly with a rag and that wire brush. And then I'm going to go back now that this black paint here is all finished drying, and hit it up with the wax as well. Because I used a flat black finish, I needed to seal it with a wax, and I wanted it to all have the same kind of matte finish that the wax gave the wood on the top, so that it all was cohesive and went together in the end. And putting on 3-piece hardware is a little bit tricky. You put in one side, then put the handle in, then put on the other side, and then screw them both in. It's a little bit hard to hold it all together while you're doing it, so you can see me kind of struggle a little bit. Here is the finished product, my friends. It turned out stunning. I absolutely love this, and it is definitely a change from what I normally do with my whitewash, but there was no way I was going to put whitewash on this piece. I chose black because of the fact that it was in such rough shape, and black could hide all those blemishes and make the beautiful wood top stand out. Thank you so much for watching, and if you liked what you saw today, don't forget to hit the thumbs up and subscribe down below, and I will see you next time. Bye!